shall be set right.
Higher, further, faster, baby.
Friendly neighborhood Spider-Man here.
I actually pitched to the people running this tournament, hey, you should match up Zeee and Dmoney in the first round. It would be funny. And they were like, no, we're doing it randomly. And then the random draw matched up Zeee and Dmoney, proving once again that only the funniest possible things happen in this universe. So I can't wait to get into this lover's quarrel between Zeee and Dmoney. Let's jump into it.
Yeah, let's take a look at that draft and see what happens. Here we go. Oh, we've got Giganto again, Spider-Man. Wow, a lot of similar cards, at least in the top end, but with a little bit of a different opening. Oh, there's also
there's an early Thanos. Thanos is a card that is extremely...
Spider-Man. Wow.
Thanos is very, I would say, controversial in this format. I think a lot of the Koreans are very down on him. And this is, of course, a format that originated in Korea. And so there's a degree of respect for that opinion. Dmoney is just like, no, I'm taking Thanos here. I know Specimen, for example, is an absolute Thanos truther in this format. His thought process is basically, if you don't take Thanos, you have to play against Thanos, and I don't want to play against Thanos. And I think that is like a pretty viable thing here. At least what Thanos does is give your deck an identity very early. The Shang-Chi being picked up is pretty solid a lot of the time, but looking at the actual cards we have in this pool, it's not restricting a ton of options. The Blue Marvel, on the other hand, is restricting, like, Dmoney would have wanted that card, to the point that I'm kind of wondering if he's going to end up picking up a Super Scroll.
Whereas me, once again, I see a Quinjet, I see a Maria Hill, I see believe it or not now, Nick Fury, which on the graphics is a 5/7. Obviously, this was not updated with the new patch, but it's actually a 4-drop now. Nick Fury is not bad at all, especially if it's got some level of support. So I would look at that as just decent options to have. And, you know, again, I'm very much of the opinion of more just stuff you can do, the better, when you look at the collector and the card generation combos that are available right now.
I'm a little bit interested in if one of these players is going to end up spinning the wheel on picking Iron Man Spectrum here. I would expect it to be a little bit more likely from Dmoney, but both players could afford to do it.
Yeah, interesting as well, because less so for Dmoney, but there is a Namor there, you know, also. There's still that Omega Red. So there's a few hits you can actually have if you wanted to try and go, you know, kind of like full on going. There's a Luke Cage, there's a Colossus. You could think about it that way. There will be a special prize I've decided to award, which is the Raven Appreciation Prize, I suppose we can call it, for anyone who picks Quake, because that is a card that will just break your opponent's brain and maybe your own in the same time.
I actually agree with you that Quake can be a little bit underrated in this format, as we do see Dmoney picking up that Super Scroll. That Blue Marvel is a card that now is very difficult to play for Zeee, and Dmoney probably going to benefit from the Blue Marvel more than Zeee will if that Super Scroll is in his hand.
Hey, there we go. The prize goes to Zeee. Perfect. Quake pickup. And I think what Zee's doing here is you can see just a ton of... I will call them tech cards. I would even stretch to say Leader is kind of a tech card, kind of not, but you know what I mean, right?
Yes.
And I don't hate this. My worry is where the direction goes, because if all your cards are responsive kind of cards, and I'm worried about how you actually, you know, pile on the power yourself. Whereas you look on the other side, there's of course Thanos, but there's Angela, there's now Rescue, even just Cable to just draw maybe something else to be able to play.
Rescue's a really interesting pick. I would think you would avoid that given your opponent has a Shang-Chi.
I'm wondering if, because Rescue's a 4-drop and it's not a huge commitment, I'm just wondering if, like, yeah, Shang-Chi. It's something we saw a lot, at least I saw a lot in the She-Hulk days, where you can just drop She-Hulk a little bit early. If they Shang-Chi it, well, you've got other stuff to do later, and they just spent 4 energy on a 3 power. attack. Basically.
I'd like to propose my own award. It's the KM Unappreciation Award, and it goes to if anyone picks Kang.
Kang, completely. I'd join you on that. Actually, completely agree. Yeah, that is. If there's ever a vote for another card we should delete from the draft, along with Agatha, it would easily be Kang. We are going to see Fury picked up from Dmoney though.
It's a lot of cards that give you cards in a deck that already draws a million cards.
One thing I will say is a slight benefit is time stone options, right? To get that extra.
Oh,
Dmoney. No offense, but I hope Dmoney loses.
This is not pre-recorded, and I feel like people are gonna think that it is now because this twice we've been like, please don't do this, and then it happened.
Yeah.
And now I feel like we're convincing everyone else that they've entered the Matrix.
Timer attack onto Z, getting that Giganto, not on purpose. It's going to pick up the Crystal as a backup. And weirdly enough, I feel like Crystal is a more okay pick against Thanos because you expect them to have like a full hand anyway. So it's like, yeah, okay, you draw one more card, whatever.
Yeah.
But I'll draw one more card for me as well.
It's not just Thanos, it's Thanos, Cable, Nick Fury.
Yeah, you've got so many cards.
Dmoney's probably going to have a full hand.
Yeah. I do like options here with, yes, Dmoney can have access to a Reality Stone, but I like the Colossus. I like the cards like that in this format because the second there's like, say, a Death's Domain, you're like, sweet, if I draw Colossus, yep.
Yeah.
I'm good. Or, negative zone. You can you can snap off that and gain, deal a damage. Just because I'm
kind of looking at Ghost for Z here. Getting a little bit of a late Shang-Chi might be something that we're actually interested in. Spectrum instead. A lot of synergy here.
Late
Blue Marvel. Timeout
on purpose,
Spectrum.
yeah. Oh no.
So there's two synergy pieces, right? It's Blue Marvel and Luke Cage.
Yeah. Yeah, again, it could have been worse. And this is why we took Agatha out. Because it could have been worse. Spectrum, not the end of the world. We are going to see Kiln come out here as the Z Money matchup does begin.
If Z can pick up that Kiln, Spider-Man's going to win another lane, probably, maybe, because both players are going to be committing to Kiln early.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Reality Stone makes everything difficult. That's one of the biggest problems with Thanos is that.
Yeah, it's always scary, isn't it? Because you think, okay, I can see two of the locations. I'm going to start making plans. And then they go, haha, here's what I think of your plans. Although looks like Dmoney's playing to get out of the big house here. Interesting. I think he's playing to draw cards. His whole hand costs 4 or 5 right now, so maybe not the best.
Okay, so suddenly things have taken a turn towards Z, at least a little bit, right? Sewer System is a big advantage to the player who has Luke Cage, right? I think that there's going to be a little bit of discipline required from Z here in terms of we have to choose one of Kiln or Asgard, and that's the only one we can reasonably attempt to target. The other one, we're just going to try to win the lane with a Spider-Man probably on Sewer System.
Slight fear though. Dmoney does have a Super Scroll, so the Luke Cage is not the most reliable thing to build a plan on. It can work, and obviously your opponent might not draw it. We know Dmoney's probably going to be wrestling with hand size throughout the whole of this matchup anyway, but still, it's something to consider because, again, because of that sort of timed out Spectrum pickup, that makes Z more likely or more wanting to play ongoing cards. But the more you play, then the more she's going to have to deal with the fact that, as now she can see, Dmoney does have that Super Scroll.
Right, but from here, we just go Spider-Man into anything, and we should be in a very good spot, correct?
To be fair, Spider-Man into, like...
Oh, wait, the Quake is extremely funny. You don't ever do it, but like if you quake a lane and the Kiln goes to the lane that you quaked and Dmoney doesn't play anything in there,
right?
We got the Kang snap coming in. Everyone's favorite card, Kang.
Right. I am going to make an official request, and I will leave some blank time to do so. But yeah, when this is edited, if for YouTube, if you want to just cut this part out, just pretend it never happened, I won't disagree with it.
Oh, Kang. Everyone's favorite animation that lasts for an inexplicably long amount of time.
Yes. Like, if anything, I feel like, a fast time reversal, like a sort of rewind time, like super fast, would even be thematic, right? To just be like,
yeah.
Oh, right, okay. Oh, we're back. Okay, cool. But it's like, nope, we're going to really make you look at this animation.
I get why, right? You want people to feel like, okay, this is Kang, he's doing Kang things. Like you need to be able to see it, because if you look away for 10 seconds, they don't want you to be like, well, why is it last turn? Dmoney locking up a potential tie in the middle here with that play. And now likely losing to the card leader. Well, I see Zee hovering that blue marble, but yeah.
Because 2 versus 1 rules. It does not work. And the Luke Cage is also keeping Dmoney safe in that sewer system. Yeah, I think it is just Leader and Hope.
Oh, but Leader and Hope is exactly what Dmoney seems to have played around here.
And this is the problem, right? Like, this is just the frustration of Super Skrull. Because without Super Skrull existing, Zee just dominates this game, this round, right? Because Blue Marvel is playable. She would be winning on sewer system. All of these things would be going extremely well. Like, Blue Marvel could have come down to win. Spectrum looks good as well. And it's like, nope, not good enough now. Just have the double 3s, but I don't think that cuts it with
the Angela ends up outdoing the leader by a pretty significant margin here.
And that's the problem as well. It's the combination of this play not only plays around leader. I'm back, I couldn't join. Not only plays around leader, but he's also just more power than playing Thanos. It's not like to play around leader, Dmoney had to put less power out, right? So yeah, a little bit of a tricky one there. As
the angry emotes coming in on the Super Skrull, and yep. I will give Kang credit. I actually think Kang won Dmoney that game.
Oh, with the X? Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I normally don't give Kang a lot of credit. I think Kang won Dmoney that game, and that is a rare occurrence. I would almost be interested, if I were Zee, in going for the Orchi's Forge here, on the grounds that we are probably actually playing those Sentinels at some point. Maybe not. Maybe our turn 3 is a Luke Cage, and our turn 4 is a Crystal, and our turn 5 is Spider-Man, and our turn 6 is a Leader. Maybe.
Oh. Sokovia. I mean, Dmoney will take that trade. They'll lose the Quake that he pulled from Zee's deck anyway, and now Zee doesn't have Leader. So Dmoney now just doesn't have to worry or think about the Leader ordering and playing on the last turn, right? That is just something that can be deleted from the brain power.
Knowing 2 full cards are missing is a big advantage, because suddenly you have a very, very clear idea of exactly the kind of play your opponent is going to make. And Dmoney ripping the Professor X off of the Time Stone, I mean, that's the dream. I fully believe he's going to go for it here, but he might end up cowarding out of it and playing Kang instead.
It's so tricky, isn't it? Because you can obviously not the right, but you can make arguments for both middle and left here for Dmoney, right? Because like
the other thing is you could play Rescue M'Baku into Professor X the rescue lane, right? Like you could do a lot of stuff like that. See, this, I almost think what his play was supposed to be was YOLO the Professor X, expect Zee to think that it's a Kang snap, and then lock in the Professor X snap.
Right. And the shake of the head from Zee, at least one of them's noble, and does, and has the right response to seeing Kang.
Right, I almost think Kang was more useful here to bluff you having Kang, rather than as actually playing the card.
Maybe it's still Dmoney's still trying to like train Z to expect Kang on snap every single time, right? If you do it like 2 to 3 times in a row, then for the rest of the match, Z might well be like, oh, okay, here we go again. You know what I mean? So that might just be enough. We'll see.
I feel like Z is aware of the potential Professor X here. I feel like there is an I feel like there was a very decent chance that she actually ripped it there.
Okay. This is tricky though as well because it's one of those circumstances that comes out often, I would say, in draft mode, is normally when your opponent's committed 5 energy to play a Professor X. Yes, it was on turn 4, of course, but normally you're like really ahead in at least one other location, right? Because your opponent's just spent a turn playing 3 power, which is not a lot. But because it's draft, you don't have as sleek a game plan, which means, yeah, Z is ahead on both other locations, but not by a significant amount, right? 5 ahead isn't much, in both locations. Like, that is easily able for Dmoney to catch up. We actually see the Spider-Man drop down now in the middle.
Hitting the rescue lane with the Spider-Man is pretty interesting. Suddenly, we are well within range here, right? Because Dmoney's
and priority as well. The Shang's there, but
Thanos is 12.
Yeah.
If it was a 10 Thanos, Spectrum could have won us the game on a tiebreaker. But a 12 Thanos is actually going to win. A 10 Thanos with Spectrum is 7, right? And it ends up tying Sokovia. The tiebreaker goes 5 in the middle to Z and 3 on the left to Dmoney. But a 12 Thanos.
Yeah, brutal.
Yep.
Absolutely brutal there. And also just the priority, right? Z did actually draw the Shang-Chi, but because she was going first, obviously, then Shang-Chi does nothing. So yeah, brutal there. And now Z slowly getting to that half health where Dmoney still looking great on full.
That 12 Thanos is like, I was thinking, okay, this Spectrum, this is great. We got this. There's a Luke Cage in there. That's 9 power. We're going to be fine. It was not fine. It was 7 power. We're going to be fine. We just need to be close enough. It was not. How much of this do you think comes back to just Dmoney has Thanos?
It's difficult, right? Because we've seen Time Stone be impactful, like already. So yes, without Time Stone, there couldn't have been the thing that even happened, right? Turn 4, not only turn 4 Kang, but turn 4 X. But I think a lot of it is Dmoney having options. And for me, I think the Super Scroll is probably the most impactful card that Dmoney has in this matchup now, just because of Luke Cage, because of all of the ongoing that Z has. Just knowing that Super Scroll exists is a huge problem. Just basically locks out 2 or 3 of Z's cards, which is brutal.
I'm a little intrigued by giving up the Mind Stone here. I get that he's looking to save space, but Z is still a Blue Marvel deck. There's an actual cost to doing that.
Yeah, that's true. Especially because the Soul Stone's not going to do anything, right? Because of Luke Cage.
It's just you'd probably play a card that was a 1 cost, 1 power card that said draw a card on it. That's still pretty good. But you definitely prefer it if it's a 1 cost, 5 power card that says draw a card on it.
Oh, there's the scroll.
Okay. Well, now he doesn't have to worry about that at all.
Oh, it's actually a little bit unfortunate that the Power Stone isn't still knocking around. Just because, if Dmoney wanted to play around leader, the sort of scroll Power Stone is really good, right? Because you give them a Power Stone, but not the scroll. So that kind of helps. Not that the scroll would really overly do anything.
The interesting thing here, though, is if he does go for the scroll, he is unable to play around leader because it's scroll plus M'Baku. Leader gets both. The issue. Oh, wow. Dmoney hovering that Professor X, he knows there's a potential Shang, right? And so he's hovering the Professor X on the rescue lane with the idea that just, if there's a Shang investment here, we're going to invalidate it.
But does 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13. Oh, yeah, it would lose by 1. I was just trying to work out if Shang even wins the location if you play scroll there. But I think it wins by 1.
I believe it does, yeah. Oh, he's going for it.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, this is... He's making a sour face, but this is... I appreciate that he's finally not playing Kang in these situations. He's just making the play and making the read.
Brutal.
Oh.
Absolutely brutal.
Ooh.
Dmoney on fire right now, honestly.
On fire.
Just playing very, very well. It's hurts me he's playing Kang, but still playing very, very well
metaphorical
indeed.
couch. Sleeping on the metaphorical couch tonight.
Yeah, really just making the key good decisions. Like I said, personally, I would have struggled to... I don't know where I would have played Super Scroll, but I would have struggled to not play Super Scroll if I was Dmoney there. You know what I mean? Because I might have purposely tried to play around Shang and not played it in Rescue, but it's just the fact that Scroll does so much, right? Just matching the blue Marvel, and then there's still a little bit of energy. You can play an M'Baku, you can play whatever. But yeah, really well played there from Dmoney. And now Kamatage with the Time Stone. Dmoney could just drop Super Scroll now and say, enjoy. It's already there on turn 2.
I'm
honestly, I don't hate it.
Oh, yeah.
Oof, yeah.
He's snapping and Z is out of here, which I believe you could reasonably describe as pretty free going into the final rounds here. 3 health and 2 health or 3 health and 4 health that give you the same amount of games, right? You still have to lose 2 games unless you get sucked into a 3-cuber. So you are mostly going to be able to take that retreat for free going into the high stakes rounds.
And hey, look, Altar of Death and Colossus. It's great.
You
this is
nailed
what
it.
I was talking about.
Yeah, it is exactly what you were talking about.
Because decks don't often have this ability, whereas a lot of decks in the meta can play with these weird locations right now. But again, in draft, not always an option. And I actually, even though Dmoney, might miss out, obviously wouldn't get could just play Power Stone and Altar of Death to really just pump the mana and just get going. But I just like Colossus, just get it down.
I am a little intrigued with this Baxter building, actually, because the Baxter building does sort of invalidate the Colossus just a little bit. Just a bit. Not a ton, but just a bit.
It means you don't have to win it, right? Colossus at worst can even it up sort of thing, right? And just keep it 3-3. Even if Dmoney loses Baxter. So it means basically the Colossus is Dmoney is never going to lose the Altar of Death. He might not win it, but he's never going to lose it. I still think it's worth it though, because again, does Dmoney really want to play a Colossus mid here? Is that really the best? Okay, if he's doing this, he's playing Professor X mid, right?
I would assume this is a setup for the YOLO Prof X, but I mean,
it has to be.
I gotta
why else would you
that's
put
what
the
it
3
is.
power?
It has to be, but is he gonna do it or is he gonna play the Kang? Because I would almost be tempted in his spot. I would almost be tempted in his spot to do something else. What if Z just rips the Quake here?
Has Dmoney already snapped? He's not, right? No,
it's still.
I would have snapped this so hard if I was Dmoney. There's the shake of the head. And look at the hand. Look at the hand for Z. Oh, the snap
late
afterwards.
snap.
Yeah, but look at the hand.
Wait,
Nothing's playable.
Hold on. Wait. What if Z went Spider-Man into... No, it doesn't work. Okay. I was trying to figure out if there was like a Spider-Man into Blue Marvel kind of thing that would have actually played out, but there's no way to make it work.
Yeah, the big house was just limiting too much here, and Z really struggling. And it's just, honestly, you kind of talked about it right at the beginning. Some players just believe that Thanos is simply good enough, basically, to carry your deck in draft mode.
Yeah.
And it's hard to disagree based on what we've seen so far. Because these
so
stones
tough.
are doing a lot of work for Dmoney.
I think it's very it's very context dependent, right? So like in a pool like the one we saw, yes, Thanos is incredible, right? Because it gives you an ethos, it gives you a reason to do the things that you're doing, it gives you something to build around. But in terms of like a heads up against something like Doctor Doom, it's probably not as good. The more you're able to build a normal functioning deck, the more Thanos's value goes down. But if you find yourself with a pool that is unable to build a normal functioning deck, Thanos is one of the best possible cards you can get. And frankly, neither of these decks would be, if you think about our last tournament, up to the standards of, say, the decks that... Remember the deck Kawa had before Agatha showed up in it? Or the deck that Harry brought against Nicolina? Like, decks that are just very good at being a good Marvel Snap deck. Neither of these decks without Thanos would be getting to that point, I think. Does Colossus still get the +3 power by not moving?
Yes, because it's the first card you play there, right? At least with the wording. The first card you play gets +3 power and moves. I think those are... It's not moves and then gains the power. Which would make it more sound like it has to move to gain that power. So yeah, I'm pretty sure Colossus would just gain it.
Phoenix Force has me utterly confused in terms of ordering of things recently. Okay, so another thing that Thanos gets in draft that he does not necessarily get in the normal modes of Marvel Snap is you can pick him and then be like, oh, there's no Killmonger. Oh, no Killmonger?
Great.
Stick around. It's great.
And this is a nightmare. This happens to me so often because I guess it's just the type of decks I play. But I feel like Z, after seeing the first location and a hand, just expects to lose this. Because Dream Dimension. And look at the fives, right? No Blue Marvel, no Spider-Man. Great. Just deleted. But not deleted Blue Marvel, but it feels like Blue Marvel and Spider-Man have just been deleted from the game in this round.
Blue Marvel was already kind of deleted from the game by the existence of Super Skrull. But
But there's not even like the whole I hope they don't have it play now, because it's like, are you really playing a 6/3 Blue Marvel? I actually think what needed to happen here was everything gets stacked onto one location, and then Z just jams Giganto on the left. You know what I mean? And just says, you know what? It's got to work.
I think that is exactly where this is supposed to go, where it's just like, numbers, Giganto, things happen.
And once again, Dmoney, even with Dream Dimension, gets a Super Skrull down and has that level of safety versus some of the shenanigans. Now look at this. Like, where does the power spread come from? Well, it would come from Blue Marvel, but nope. Not
the
really.
Spectrum doesn't do enough here, unfortunately.
No,
that's the other option for power spread, and it just doesn't play.
Yeah. This is where the likes of if Z, say, got hold of the Colossus and maybe the Quinjet, suddenly, you know, Spectrum can be a surprise factor, right? Because it's like, oh, suddenly you're adding 6 extra power to the board. Like, that's interesting. But because there just isn't enough of it there, it's just not good enough.
Well, the other issue, of course, is that, you know, Dmoney picked that Super Skrull early, which scared Z off of playing those cards. And in that context, it makes sense why she ended up the way she did, because what happened was the timeout gave her the Spectrum. That wasn't an intentional pick by her.
Yep.
That was a card that ended up in her deck through no real choice of her own. Just took a little bit too long on the timer. So I was really impressed with Thanos in the context of, you know, we haven't seen one Doctor Doom yet, right? We haven't seen a lot of the cards that are like staples in the format show up. And so when there are less competitors for Thanos, picking Thanos early. We just saw the value of it for Dmoney there, taking home that victory over Zee.
Yeah, super rough there as well, especially because we did see the very end where the Giganto came down, and you look at the power on the board and think, oh, well, actually, this could have, actually been something that would have worked, but really difficult to obviously sense that out from the early turns of the game. So unfortunate there for Zee, but Dmoney continuing to look like he's performing well in competitive at Snap, regardless of the format, because I think this is like the third format he's played in 3 weeks or something of, significant tournaments. So really impressive there from Dmoney so far. But let's take a look once again at that bracket and see how it's shaping up. So we've got Molt versus Fresh Lobster in the first semi-final a little bit later on, or tomorrow actually, should I say. And then we have Dmoney versus the winner between OrdinaryHarry and Lambyseries. This, I would say, at least for me, Cam, that the most competitive matchup based on just previous results from all the players.
This month's Snap Arena is brought to you by BCW Supplies, our go-to source for protecting our prized collectibles. From cards to comics to coins, BCW Supplies has top-tier options to store, protect, and show off your rarest gems. Head over to bcwsupplies.com and use the code 983media to get 10% off your entire order. Protect your most prized comics, your most precious cards, and much more. You can help support this show and future Snap Arenas by following the link in the description below and use the code 983media at checkout to get that 10% off your entire cart. BCW Supplies. Protect, store, display.
Higher, further, faster, baby.
Friendly neighborhood Spider-Man here.
I was impressed with both players. I believe Lambyseries, if I recall correctly, I felt as though he outdrafted OrdinaryHarry in the finals last time. Let's see if that holds up, if Harry has been honing his skills, because I personally believe Lambyseries is one of the best players in the entirety of Marvel Snap. He's one of the favorites to win this tournament, if not the outright favorite. So, as always, I'm going to be rooting for the underdog. Let's go, baby. Let's go, Harry. Lamby, if you're watching this, I'm sorry.
It's really tough because on one hand, Harry's a good friend. I've known Harry pretty much since Marvel Snap started now, since I discovered who Harry was way back when. But also then when you talk about way back when Lamby was at the Creator Clash the other week, he grabbed me and was like, oh, hey, Raven, we need a picture. And I was like, yeah, of course, mate, of course. It's like, yeah, the last time I need to show you this. And he showed me a picture of us both, which we recreated at the Creator Clash from like 7 years ago or something, an early Hearthstone tournament in, where was it? I think it was Thailand, or Malaysia, I can't remember which one. But anyway, it was like 7 years ago. And I was like, yeah, okay, And you suddenly realize, I've known some of these players quite a long time, from like the Hearthstone days and stuff. So again, tough to root for any particular player here, but either way, I know it's going to be a good match. So let's take a look at the draft and see what's going to happen here, because both of these players very capable of drafting.
Ooh, we got a Doom. There is a Doom in.
We've also got Galactus Destroyer Death. We've got Darkhawk. We've got Dracula Modox things as well. Potentially, we've got Ghost Rider. Do we have a Sif?
This is a much more
this is
high-powered group of cards than several of our previous ones have been.
Look at this Silver Surfer potential.
Yes.
It's got one of my favorite combos. Black Cat Ghost Rider.
Is there a potential? I'm checking in through. Is there a potential Patriot Surfer deck in here? Don't think so.
Wasps there?
Well,
that's about it.
The hood, maybe, if you count that.
There's A-bomb. It's probably okay, but I think Surfer with the good 3-drops as a backup might be worthwhile here. So far, we see Harry on the right picking goodcards.com, Dr. Doom, Jeff, Iceman, just generically strong cards. Lamby kicked it off with Maximus Crossbone. So I think Lamby very quickly after seeing the Dr. Doom saying, okay, Harry's kind of going to be that step ahead with that Doom. So what do I have to do to beat a Dr. Doom on turn 6 on average?
Right. I think Lamby has generally valued cards like Maximus and Crossbones a little higher than most players in this format because they are simply good value plays whenever you can get them off. And since so much of this format is about spending your energy efficiently, you just want to be able to efficiently spend your energy. I also think those are a consequence, though, of just there's not a lot of build-arounds here. There's not like once you have the Doom, you can start just picking like when you look at what Harry's doing, it's just like, all right, we need good cards, good cards, good cards, good cards because I'm so ahead off of having this Doom.
Honestly, I think if I was drafting this, and obviously it took me this long to decide on this, so it would be too late probably, I would really look at like Wasp, Korg, Lockjaw, and then big stuff, and then pick like Black Cat, Ghost Rider in there as well or something. You know, just try and just dump giga stats. Because again, no Shang-Chi and not a lot of options, but you've got like Leader, you've got She-Hulk, you obviously not Destroyer for that, but you've got Black Panther,
Thor
you've got Abomination.
Like, I would not be surprised if Lamby ends up backdooring into Wasp Lockjaw. But that seems to be the his method of approaching those. They end up being like the 10th, 11th, 12th cards in his lists. A decent
the
amount
good
of the
thing
time.
as well is there's even still, you know, the lower tier things to use. So there's Korg, there's a Black Widow you could use if you wanted to bounce through Lockjaw, you know, just to have like a couple of options. But obviously with the Thor, there's the hammer as well. So this is looking pretty good as just raw stats here from Lamby.
The Thor is a really good pickup, given that Harry, moving into this Storm situation, Lamby being able to put a Thor on those Storm locations puts a lot of fear into Harry in those situations.
But I do love the Storm pickup, right? Because it goes so well with the fact that he has Doom.
We got
right?
it.
Like,
there's the backdoor Lockjaw Wasp.
Yeah, makes sense. Going for Korg, Black. It does give,
Widow Korg
Black
off
Widow,
the Dark Hawk.
Yeah.
That is just so clever. I almost wonder if Harry was aware of the Lockjaw Wasp potential, and so the Dark Hawk sets that up with Widow Korg. That is really, really clever.
I will say though, something to bear in mind, that the although that's obviously good, but the Dark Hawk is not going to be that big, right? Because there isn't a rock slide, right? So Dark Hawk
It doesn't have to be.
Okay.
Right. That's why I was surprised that he picked it in the first place, right? But if he picked it as preparation for I'm pivoting into Black Widow Korg because I expect Lambyseries to end up on some sort of Lockjaw thing because that's the kind of stuff he likes doing, suddenly it's a lot more interesting. That Dracula combined with Nick Fury, actually kind of good. You might not expect it to be good given everything in Harry's deck has like 5 or less power, but combined with Nick Fury and that Destroyer, I guess, we are suddenly able to threaten that Thor in the Stormlands.
It's good as well because, that's the big deal, right? Storm now has the options of Darkhawk follow-up with maybe a Fantastic at some point as well, or Dracula, because Dracula is a pain to deal with. If your opponent goes Storm Dracula, you're just like, oh god, here we go again. You know, because you have no clue how much power you're going to need, and because your opponent doesn't know how much power they're going to have either. So it's really hard to commit. Professor X with Ghost Rider and Blade. Oh, the only thing that upsets me here, Kay, is like no Black Cat. Oh, I think Black Cat's such a good backup. It's like, even if you don't, obviously there's the Blade, but Black Cat just does such a good job. It's fine off Lockjaw. It makes Ghost Rider a 410, basically. Like, I don't know. I like that combo far too much.
I'm a little surprised looking at this that there was a Destroyer picked over a She-Hulk for Harry. I get what he's going for there, but I feel like the downside is so much less pronounced with the She-Hulk, and 9 is usually going to be just fine.
That's true, actually. Yeah, not 19, 11. Maybe he just thinks that it's just not big enough if a Thor gets dropped.
Right, but again, we're a Mr. Fantastic Doctor Doom deck. It doesn't need to be on its own.
True.
It just has to be kind of okay.
Oh, Lamby just gonna tempo Blade. Sure.
Oh, the pain.
Oh, okay.
Oh, the pain.
Not too bad. Again, I'll tell you, Ghost Rider Leader is not the worst thing to do in the world either. So, man, I love Ghost Rider so much. One of my favorite cards in the whole game. We need to see. We need it buffed. Bring it. Put it back as a 3/3. Now imagine how broken that would be. Ghost Rider's a 3.
Just advocating for unnerfing a card that literally everyone ran in every deck.
Okay.
Even though it was like fairly mid.
I would raise the question of, look at the power level of the game now. I think Ghost Rider as a 3/3 would actually be fine, although a little bit busted with Surfer.
Interesting.
Jeff, again, a card that I really hope is in the new cash system soon, because I still don't have Jeff and would quite like it at this point. So Jeff going to be really flexible for Harry again. Similar to the conversation we had earlier about Colossus of, well, if there are any issues or dodgy locations, you can just play Jeff into them. And that's something that Lamby does not have access to.
I am getting a little actually worried from Lamby the more I think about this. I think it's going to require a remarkable performance in order to pull out a win against the deck that Harry has put together here.
Harry's playing deck, the deck you can play on ladder. Like it's the
prototypical good cards in this format, and it's unlocked by first pick Doctor Doom, right? Like it's first pick Doctor Doom, Iceman's in the pool, Jeff is in the pool, Darkhawk is in the pool, Korg is in the pool. Like you just pick these good cards with it. This is one of the more high-powered pools that we have. And one of the things that I've noticed over the course of this is it sort of seems to me that the more consistency you have, the more of a game plan you have committed to, the better equipped you are to winning these games.
Oh yeah, 100%. Because it's no longer just, I'll just drop stuff and hope it's bigger than my opponents. You have very clear game plans, and that's why constructed decks are strong, because they have very clear game plans.
Is this an actual just instant snap from Harry here? There's a storm, and we have Doctor Doom, and anything they would play into the storm location gets pulled to Asteroid M. It seems almost unlosable. Not literally unlosable, but extremely powerful. We probably play the Korg off and then aim to storm the location the Korg is on. But wow.
Yeah.
They are both in on this. Okay.
Yeah, okay. Well, Lamby's going to be pretty happy with the Sunspot. There is the Thor Maximus, which is a lot of
Lamby's going to be very happy with the Sunspot. But
well, here's the thing, though, right? One location gets stormed. Lamby dumps a ton of flexible power because of the Thor, potentially, into Asteroid, let's say. Then suddenly, who wins the fight for the other location?
No, Harry has priority here, so the Asteroid M is not gonna pull the Thor here, and then he has the chance of the flooded location on the mirror dimension. This is so heads up.
But there is a Thor there now.
There is Thor there, and that is
So Harry's gonna commit more to the left flooding, because that's the tricky thing, right? Like,
this is Harry. If Harry, in my opinion,
if Harry spread the power and ended up just losing one, like he might just lose one. So then basically they'll just both be playing for Vibranium.
I'm a little interested in this because I think that if he spreads the power, he's actually going to be fine, right? Because he can't, right? Because of Maximus, he will not be fine, right?
Yeah.
If he spreads the power, he will lose to Maximus in one of them. But just Abomination into Doctor Doom here might just be enough to win Vibranium Brian's heads up entirely.
Yeah. The only interesting thing here, though, is with this play, Lamby gets to play Crossbones, worst case scenario, right? Because he's winning by one.
Are we Dracula gamers here?
Ooh.
Are we about to try to live the dream?
Wait, I'm trying to...
So, one thing to note here, the flooded location doesn't close like that. When it copies the flooded location, it gets delayed by a turn. Lamby committing the Maximus to it, I think he's realizing now what happened there. Because committing the Maximus to that location now, going for the turbo scam.
Well, wait, Harry can draw
Lamby wins.
Jeff.
Oh wait, no, there is Jeff. Oh no. That's the one draw.
I told you, these cards that like beat locations, obviously this is a unique example, is so strong.
He knows too. Lamby, I just saw him mouth the words Jeff.
Yeah, that's the one. And Harry's not
like,
retreating because Harry would have retreated because Sunspot, right, grows and then wins the tiebreaker.
He would have clicked retreat later. There's no way to know.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Lamby's not pressed end turn. Yeah, sorry. Lamby's not pressed.
Yeah, neither of them know. Like, neither of them know. Lamby's just sitting here like, all right, I drew him cards with this Maximus.
Oh,
is one of those cards Jeff?
It's so painful, isn't it, for Lamby? Because the play was good, right? He has Sunspot.
Play was great.
He then probably breaks tiebreaker.
Oh!
Wow, what a retreat. This also, if you think about it, required Harry to play his to draw and play his biggest card, which was Abomination. Any other card, and yeah, it would still need Jeff, but all the other cards are way lower power than A-Bomb, right?
Collapse Mine in your death deck.
I mean, that's a good one. Harry might just retreat
here, right?
here.
Like, you just leave, right?
Yeah, just take it. Yeah, enjoy.
Absolutely out of here on that.
And it's really funny as well.
And Harry,
you can tell how much the players have played because, like, Lamby is just like, yep, that's it. That is what should have happened. I snap, you retreat because I've got, and that's just done, right? It's almost like just an agreement of, well, this happened. I press this button, you press that button. We move on to the next round. Let's go.
Yes. Like, we both know how this goes.
Yes. Oh, this was so weird for a second there. And I just glanced, and because there's a lot of black and white cards, I was like, huh? Hang on a minute. What's going on here?
If Sakar manages to pull something, like there are a lot of good combinations of Sakar pulls for Lamby here, right?
And there's nothing
is not one of them.
Okay.
That is not one of the ones we would have wanted to see.
Yeah, both players kind of whiffed, right? I think for both players, if any of the other cards came out, they would have been happier. But at least Lamby now has the Widow's Bite for the Lockjaw. Not the worst outcome.
Well, the Widow's Bite on the Lockjaw isn't exactly as good as you think, because it means you can draw the Widow's Bite again. Like, it's fine.
It does, but it fills out the turn because the problem here is Lamby had obviously drew one less card, right? So he could have got something. But Lamby had not a lot of great follow-up, whereas the rest of Lamby's hand can close to play itself now. Doesn't need to draw too many other cards.
I am sort of thinking, like, is Lamby just going to try to slam the door shut with a Profex next turn? And if so, are we just jamming Dracula if we're Harry? Or is Harry going to play, Nick Fury Korg? Because Professor X in the middle after this Crossbones is nearly unbeatable.
Yes, because again, you can look at Harry's hand and say, oh, well, hang on, Abomination's huge. It's not huge enough now. So yeah, oof. Lamby could also just commit Wasp into mid if he really wanted to, but I don't think X loses to anything apart from like Dracula into Destroyer or something, right? Like something
Dracula
really
into like some ridiculous Nick Fury card, correct?
Yes, yeah.
Like Giganto, Destroyer.
Infinite.
That's the range we're talking.
Yeah. This is nice though. Like the Wasp pickup as well for that Lockjaw, not bad at all. It's going to be the X, and it was Abomination.
That lane, yeah.
And now,
I suppose there is a Jeff. Right?
Oh, the Destroyer was actually drawn as well.
Wait, I mean, we're taking a 1 in 3 here. Does that actually play? The Maximus is going to make it a 1 in 5.
Yeah. If I was Harry, I think I'd take a 1 in 3 to win the match. Obviously, he doesn't know about Max, but yeah, he doesn't know about Maximus, right? From his view, I'd take a 1 in 3 to win.
All right. I don't even know if it is a 1 in 3 though. Unfortunately, given the numbers that we're looking at right here.
Yeah, it's
Destroyer is only 15. It's actually 0, right? We can't get it.
Yeah. I mean, from Harry's point of view, he didn't see the Wasp last turn, right? So, like, from his point of view, he has to beat, like, one other thing. So, and a 1 in 3 to hit 15, which, funnily enough, he actually hit it even with less odds.
Did hit it.
But yeah, I think in those positions, if you, in your mind, have a 33% chance to just win the match, and even if you miss, you don't lose the match, I think you take that, or at least I would.
I think that is the exact kind of game that Lamby has to win in order to have a chance against what Harry is doing. I think that kind of game is so tough for him to actually pull out. And that Professor X, the timely Professor X, given Harry's commitment to the Storm lane, was very, very crucial there.
Victory.
Oh, okay.
Snap and retreat, and we are tied at 3.
Yeah, huge. Something I really didn't expect to happen after the earlier stuff we saw in this matchup.
Yeah. You cannot count Lambyseries out, no matter what your opinion of the deck matchup may be.
Oh! Sif Ghost Rider, let's go! It's there. It
It's a
exists.
leader? You're gonna Sif Ghost Rider a leader? What if you put Sif and Ghost Rider in the Dark Dimension?
Yeah, I like it. That's something, because I played a lot of Sif Ghost Rider. That is something I've done many times.
We are not putting Sif and Ghost Rider in the Dark Dimension. What if we just put Ghost Rider in the Dark Dimension?
No, what about Ghost Rider and Flooding now?
Oh my god. Well, Dracula, right?
That's the only thing that's a problem, though. Anything else
Yeah.
is pretty sick, right?
Sort of. Harry's deck is good at getting power across, right? We're more worried about a Doctor Doom with that leader. Like, that's what we want to actually be hitting with that. So I do think, like, this is cool, but we are in a ton of trouble, like, even against just Mr. Fantastic here, right? Or not just Mr. Fantastic, but, like, specifically Doctor Doom, Jeff, Mr. Fantastic. Combinations of those cards are going to be the ones that we're worried about.
Yes, but only in the world that Harry just didn't play into Flooding.
Yes.
Right? You know, like, because this looks more odd than it should, I would argue. But now both players with the Dark Hawk. Obviously, Harry has the ability to buff his own Dark Hawk, whereas Lamby does not.
Well, he already did, right? The Korg is already there.
Yeah.
What I'm interested in is, I think Harry might be setting up for just literally slamming Destroyer on Dark Dimension here. I think that seems to be where this might be going.
I can see it. It's just a ton of power already. The Wakanda's already doing the job that normally reserved for armor.
Right, and the worry would be like, okay, in this situation, we lose to Doctor Doom, so is there anything we can do to hedge around that? And what we do to hedge around that... oh. Okay, or we could just play Doctor Doom and win the game.
Yeah.
All right, leader's already out of here, and that is unfortunately...
I think you can see Harry looking off camera, and I think Harry's just going over Lamby's deck to say, is there any way Lamby can add power mid? Because it doesn't need a lot, right? Doom's only 4, so it's only going to win by 1 power.
The interesting thing here is one of Lamby's best plays involves Maximus, except that it's actually terrible because his leader copied a Darkhawk. So drawing Harry cards drops his own
power.
Darkhawk's power. And so there ends up being almost no real way for him to win that Wakanda, and he's going to lose the flooded location because of Doctor Doom.
That's it. I think this is one of those games for Lamby where he needed Harry to not draw Doom, and then Lamby goes 3 with Wasp into Dark Dimension and say that'll be enough. You know what I mean? And just switch priority over to the other side of the board. I do see Lamby is going to retreat, so it's not going to be all over yet. Lamby needs to win 2. Harry needs to win 1. Very, very simple at this point in the matchup.
I mean, I even think it's simpler. It's like, did we draw Doctor Doom? Oh, now we don't want to draw Doctor Doom. I do not want to be drawing Doctor Doom. An interesting wrinkle here, though, Ooh, Death getting discarded. I was about to talk about the wrinkle of if Harry plays Dracula out and then gets Death on the final turn.
There's Ghost Rider. Not a bad full power. Four energy, 15 power. Not terrible.
Not bad at all.
Nope. Nice destroyer you've got there is what I would say if I was Lamby. Oh, Rhino. That can save Doom. If Harry draws it.
Will he want to spend the time? Get a little bit of a free Maximus here. They draw the card they would have already drawn at the beginning of next turn.
I think if... maybe not now, but I think if Harry draws exactly Doom, like Rhino, Black Widow, and then follow up with Doom, depending, of course, on what he sees on Lamby's side of the board, isn't horrendous. But it very much does, of course, depend on drawing Doom exactly this turn.
We are seeing a lot of the power of Maximus Crossbones here, I think. Given the, like, it's just very hard to beat 15, right? 15 is just a lot of stats from a 3 and a 4. And then we're getting another 15 from our other 4 in the form of Ghost Rider. I wonder how hard Lamby is considering just slamming a Profex somewhere. I don't think he's seriously considering it. He's got to get the Ghost Rider out now. Get his power
Ghost Rider's way too good. Like, way too good in this instance here. So Ghost Rider going to slam down with the Death on the Ruins now, no longer the Mindscape. But I think this is just overpowering Harry. The Doom was drawn as well. it's just worth pointing out that, like, you never actually retreat this game. Yeah. If you're Harry, because 2 cubes is 2 cubes, no matter what. I'm a little interested in if there's anything we can, like, what if we just read Leader and play Destroyer? Does Destroyer prevent them from playing Leader? What if, like, that's the interplay here that's so awkward, is if Lamby plays Leader and Harry plays Destroyer, it ends up being a pure tie. It does, but I don't think Lamby's bad at the game, therefore I don't think he'll play Leader. Because
the Professor X, this is the Doom hedge, right? Like,
yeah, Destroyer's the only thing that Harry could do something weird with and could get enough power with, you know, like in a weird outcome, right? So like Lamby's just like, I just won't play Leader because that's the worst. What's the outcome here?
So an interesting situation here is if Harry plays Dr. Doom on Camp Lehigh and ends up just ripping the Destroyer or the Abomination for the Olympia win, right?
Yeah, good heads up play though by Harry and for Lamby, right? They're both like doing the right thing, basically. Both
extremely heads up here. All right, now we are living the Dracula dream, and it hits Nick Fury instead.
Really, really close matchup. Both players down to 1 health, and honestly, I expect nothing less.
So the reason that was such a heads up play here is if you actually do the math and count, the 4 and the 5, it might seem like the obvious plays to play the Dr. Doom in the middle. Yeah? But the 4 and the 5 don't actually make a ton of difference here because because 9 will win it with the 4, the Abomination, and 15 off the Destroyer will always win it with the Dracula. So 5 and 4, not doing a lot.
Here, though, this will 100% be the last game, I guess, unless there's a tie, a true tie, which we'll see. So won't, I guess, 99% be the last game, let's say, of this matchup, the final matchup of the top 8.
I mean, this is the hand you want if you're Harry, right? Like you have it all. You have all your good cards. You are playing. You are playing good cards. Deck. That's it. You're just playing every good card.
Doom go.
Yeah.
The tricky thing is though, Lamby has Leader now, so he has Leader for the Doom, which I think is the first time we've seen this happen in the matchup, right? Where at the moment, if Harry does the strong things, which is Doom, Lamby can just go for the Leader and say, you know, maybe that's enough.
I just made the exact same face Lamby made. Like, I'm sitting here looking at like, oh man, we're really only playing a Wasp here. Iron Man hit Ghost Rider twice.
It's brutal.
Iceman hit Ghost Rider twice. It's just...
Icebox and Iceman. It's too much ice.
Oh man,
And also just
too much ice.
not winning. And Mr. Fantastic basically doing a great job of just not winning a single location for Crossbones, right? It's basically just all going wrong here for Lamby.
Crossbones 100% unplayable thanks to Mr. Fantastic existing.
Yeah. And here we go. Abomination coming down here for Harry, jumping a ton of power. And this is the problem now where even Leader probably won't be able to draw him out of this. Daredevil on that side.
Yep. So it goes. Do we ever move Jeff over to Icebox? No, we can't because Leader has its own 2 powers, so we need to keep it that way.
Yeah, I think Harry just plays Doom and puts his feet up because I can't think of a way that. Whoa, let me think. Like, no, I just with the Fantastic Doom and Jeff and the spread, I don't think a way exists in the deck to even do this, right? Because Maximus plus something, you can't catch up, right? Because the spread is too strong. This is what
Harry's deck was built to do, and it's doing it.
Oh, and I think Lamby's doing the right thing, hoping that Doom's not played left. Goes
exactly
Leader
what Harry
into
played
something.
Around, though.
Exactly,
that is exactly what it is.
And once again in this matchup, both players, thinking about the right things. Like Lamby, how do I dig myself out of this? How do I, somehow get this to happen? And then Harry saying, well, what's the strongest thing my opponent can do to win this game? How do I deal with that? And we are going to see the outcome here. Yeah, the Doom on the left, Lamby knows. And there's the clap. And it's a rock, just to finish it off. The final slap in the face. But again, KM, what a series. I expect nothing less from these players. And it was so sick. Like, I do think Harry had the better deck overall because, it had the Doom, it had the Jeff, it just had the good cards. But I think even though that was the case, unlike we've seen in matchups across both of the tournaments we've ran for draft so far, unlike the case, like, that went down to 1 health each. That was not, one person drafted better, so it's just game over for the other person. Nope, went down to the final one, and even then, it was, there were options available. But Harry, I think, in that last game, just drew exactly what he wanted to draw.
Yep. I think that last game was an example of exactly what Harry wants to do in every game. You play a great 1-drop on 1, you end up curving into Mr. Fantastic, you play more good cards, you play Abomination, you play Dr. Doom, and that's just on average going to be stronger than anything your opponent is doing, and it finally all came together for him in that last game.
Okay, well, let's take a look at the bracket and how it's shaken out now that we have done all of the top 8. So at the start of the day, we had Fresh Lobster take a victory over Eggs, and then we had Molt take down Kawa with some crazy shenanigans towards the end of that matchup. We had Dmoney beat Zeee in the couples matchup, I guess, for the third match of the day. And then we just had that extremely close one of Harry taking a victory over Lamby. And, for once, Lamby loses at Marvel Snap. It's a bit of a rarity, I'll be honest, but it did happen. We have video proof. But yeah, what a set of matchups, KM. Any major highlights for you overall?
I think the biggest highlight is that Lambyseries, one of the best players, the favorite. I had him as the favorite to come out of this tournament and win another one, is no longer in contention, which means we will have a new champion on this iteration of the Infinity Gauntlet Snap Arena, brought to you by BCW Supplies. I am so happy to see that. Like, in terms of me being one of Lamby's friends, it sucks. But in terms of having genuine new faces in the top 4 of this tournament, I think this is the #1 thing that could have happened to make me more excited to watch day 2, because suddenly we are looking at anything can happen. Because I honestly thought that this was going to be, Lambyseries takes it the whole way. And now that that's not happening, the only inkling of doubt I had was when I saw the deck that Harry put together. And even then, he made it as good as it could get. So we are looking at a new champion. That is happening. And I think that is the most consequential thing that I saw that happened on day 1.
Yeah, really looking forward to checking those matches out and seeing who's going to be crowned the new champion. For now, we are going to be done. Thanks a lot for watching. We appreciate it. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place to see who is going to be the Snap Draft champion. We'll see you then.